gosh, I mean, I go back to as far as I can remember. When I was 9 and 10 years old, and I'm racing the go-kart, and then Bobby Jr. started racing the go-kart. And Dad would have something wrong with my go-kart, and Uncle Bobby's across the street, and it's about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and Dad would say, Uncle Bobby's got this part I need or whatever, and run across the street and get it. And I go, do I? Really?
Don't make me.
He goes, yeah. So one time I go across the street and you know, I can't see anybody and in the windows and so on. I open up the door and I hear this yelling and stuff going on in the garage, and so I walk in a different part of the room. I open up the door and you got Uncle Bobby and Bobby Jr. They're behind each toolbox across the room. They're reaching around the toolbox, grabbing tools and going, fuck you, no, fuck you. I shut the door, went back across the street, and I said, Dad, he ain't got it. He ain't got it. So.
All right, Johnny Unser, you, I don't know, your father, Jerry, was the first Unser that was a really good race driver, I think, other than the rest of the relatives and stuff like that. So
other than Uncle Bobby.
Yeah, and Uncle Bobby, yeah. So did he give you life lessons or racing lessons, or how'd that work?
You know, I came onto the scene a little bit later, but one of my earlier memories of Uncle Bobby was up at Chama, New Mexico. And so during the holidays, my brother and I would go up there and we'd all kind of get together, the whole family, and go snowmobiling and stuff. And one year, we went up there, and Uncle Bobby has some good friends. Now, this has to do a lot with the law and how to deal with the law. This was my early lessons from Uncle Bobby's, how to deal with the law. They were cops, and they were very good friends. And so Joe, who was an New Mexico State Police at that time, good friends of Uncle Bobby, came up to Uncle Bobby and said, hey, I got a new patrol car. Let's go for a ride. I want to show you this patrol car. And Uncle Bobby said, well, I want to drive it. And so my brother and I are in the back seat. Uncle Bobby's driving the patrol, gets the officer to ride in the passenger seat of the patrol car, and we're headed down. Now, this is the winter, so the road surface is like snow and ice and a little dry here and there, and we are hauling ass. And I'm watching the speedometer, and it gets up to, this is legitimately 140 miles per hour on this 2-lane road through the mountains. And all this, and Joe, the cop, goes, well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die with my hat on. And it was pretty terrifying because Uncle Bobby was driving. We're in the back seat, and all of a sudden the brakes go on, just come to a complete stop. And Uncle Bobby tells Joe, put that light on those deer. And there's deer on the side of the road. And then he goes, hand me your rifle. And this is at nighttime. He shoots the deer, multiple, and then off we go. Now, he's good, and he knows about nature and how to take care of them. And so I'm like, couldn't believe what's going on here. Nighttime in the patrol car, we come back from this 140 mile per hour speed run, stop on the brakes again at that spot, and he goes, Johnny, you get out there with your brother and throw those deer in the back of the car. And Joe is going, you can't put these dead, bloody deer in the back of my patrol car. And he goes, I got some cardboard. We'll put it down in there in the back and put them in the patrol. And we load the deer and go back, take them to the ranch. And that was my first law-abiding story of Uncle Bobby.
Oh, I like that. All right. Since Parnelli's here, I almost forgot this story. So we've heard the legend of Bobby Unser, and so he wins this. He wins the 68 Indy 500. Before that, Parnelli runs the Turbine in 67. He should have won the race, and the thing breaks near the end. And AJ wins his third race, sorry. And So Shunk and I were talking to Uncle Bobby one night. Did you ever get a chance to drive the turbine? Oh, yes. Listen, Andy Granatelli loved me. He goes, he offered me $1 million to drive the turbine. Now, a year before, they offered Parnelli Jones $100,000 to drive the turbine, and that's what made him say, yeah, I think I'd do it for $100,000. So the next year, they're going to give this guy $1 million? I think that's bullshit, personally. That would be my guess. You can rebut later. Andy, but this is the best part of the story, is our hero says, I just couldn't do that to Goodyear, Robin. I'm a loyal person. I'm like, are you shitting me? You would have sold anybody in your family for $1 million. I just couldn't pull the trigger. I love Goodyear, Al. They've been so good to me. All right, so you're starting to win races. He's on ABC, and people are going, man, he's playing favorites. My nephew Al Jr. is just so much better than those people. Did you hear that a lot? Did you hear?
No.
No, yeah, he did. No. All the time.
No, when he was up in the booth, he was
critical?
Big time on me.
No.
No. These guys, they have to go around during the race weekend and do their job and do their investigating on who's running good, who's not running good. And so they have like an all-access pass. They can get anywhere they want to. And so pretty much during those years that he was up in the booth, we would practice Friday and Saturday. And at the end of Friday, he would come up to me and he would let me know exactly where I was slow on the track. And where I needed to improve my line or something like this. And this happened Friday night and Saturday night. And so at all the events, I mean, he was my...
But you always won.
I didn't always win. No. There was one race, and it was in Tamiami, and I had qualified 22nd. And out of 24 cars, okay, so I was at the back, and so he comes up to me at the start. We're on the grid, and it's before I get in the car, and he says, well, you know, son, just take today and just put it down as experience, you know, because you're not going to go anywhere. Just try to just learn as much as you can today, and just, you know, bring it home. And so we did win that one. We did win that one, so that was good.
22nd to first. Johnny, when you started racing, did he ever come give you any Bobby Unser advice?
He gave me a lot of advice.
Do you think that's why Bobby Unser Jr. retired at an early age? He got too much advice?
It might have had something to do with it. Son, I'm telling you.
He wanted to be a rock and roll drummer. No, honey, you're going to be a race driver. So
he had a good way of no, he didn't have a good way of doing it. He had a way of doing it. He would tell you exactly how it needed to be done, when, where, and why. And I remember during the days when the first time that I started driving Indy cars was around '93. And that was in the day of the pop-off valve, when you had the listening tube on the side of the helmet, and everybody was cheating. It was a big cheating deal back then, and you kept turning in the valves to get the right valve, and you had a little lockdown thing that went to your breathing tube or the listening tube. And Uncle Bobby, we were in Las Vegas when we ran there the first time, and I just remember, man, he chewed my ass for not being able to get that pop-off valve to work just right. And we needed a better pop-off valve and needed to know how to make it work now.
Now.
That's right.
All right, we got, there's some people that want to chime in here, boys. Lori Garish, longtime Penske employee, good mechanic, survivor of Bobby Unser. How many times did you get fired in the Penske, 3, 4? Tell a good Bobby Unser story.
I believe it was 3 times in 3 years. All because of Bobby. But, oh my God, we had some fun times. I mean, hilarious. I remember the one time we were at Atlanta. Is in the early days of the split from, I think it's twin 125. And Uncle Bobby had this magical Amsoil wax. He says, son, I put this on my airplane and I go 35 miles an hour faster. So with that, we were instructed to start spraying it on the car. Anywhere where the wind touched, the air touched, on his helmet, under the body. And we're in line to qualify. And we thought, well, the air touches the wheels, so we sprayed it on the wheel rims. So we're about 15th in line to get up to qualify. Well, in that time, that magic Amsoil goo had dribbled down the side of the tires and got onto the surface of the tires. And Bobby was by far the quickest car. But we go out to qualify and he comes in with like 7th quick. He says, son, I almost killed myself out there. What the hell's going on? I don't know, Bobby. Don't know what the hell went on. So we started looking around the car and we finally realized that this magic Amsoil goo had got onto the tires. And we only had, 3 sets of tires for a weekend or something like that. It wasn't many tires. And he says, well, I'll tell you one thing, son. I can't race those tires. He says, where's your toolbox? He goes over to my toolbox. He gets out the sharpest implement I have. And he walks around to every one of those 4 tires and goes, pop, 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 pop. And I'm going, what? He says, well, can't race those. So I said, well, okay, we're down to 2 sets of tires for 2 races. Now what? He says, come with me. Rick, you got to plug up your ears on this one. We walk into the trailer. He says, get a can of brake clean and a rag. We go in there with a white crayon. He said, give me a set of those Rick Mears tires. We sprayed off the white Rick Mears set number 2 on it. Okay, Bobby Unser, set number 1. We're good to go. And that was it. That was typical Bobby, man.
Thanks, Lord. Thanks, Lord Gert. All right, everybody's got a Bobby Unser VIP card. This is what he gives to strangers. Like Lisa told me once they had a vacation to Costa Rica. They were there for 11 days, and not one person had recognized our hero. Well, it made him crazy. So he whips out his VIP cards and walks up to total strangers and goes, hi, Bobby Unser, 3-time Indy winner. I really like your city. What's your name? Really? Okay. Now.
I believe it.
You believe it.
Absolutely.
At some point, Bobby Unser brain charge. They actually sold this shit somewhere. Bobby Unser brain charge. What do you suppose this does for you? Does this halfway through a race, do you go faster?
I'd stay totally away from
I'd stay totally away from that too. Thank God Voiles is here.
I know where there's cases of that.
Yes. And Roger Penske likes Amsoil, cases of Amsoil in the Quonset hut. You know that. He's got every case of oil, doesn't he, Junior?
I think he still has Olympia beer.
Oh, yeah.
Olympia beer from the 70s.
He's got
in
Riz
his
Loan.
Quonset hut.
Yeah. Unser,
Literally.
you get to defend yourself here. What's the deal with the Quonset hut? Well, no, speak in it so people can hear you. Dead. Okay, use this.
It's not working here.
We tried. We gave him a dead mic and he caught it.
Johnny, what are you doing?
Been trying to talk back on it, but dead.
All right, Quonset hut.
Well,
Cases and cases of oil. You've saved everything you've ever stolen or been given.
I got a lot of oil. But my
But not the
airplane
kind he
uses a lot
wants.
of airplanes. Lisa's plane uses a lot of oil, so I got to have a lot of oil, you know.
T-shirts from the 60s. Jackets
How about
from the 60s.
the Riz Loan jacket? I love it when he wears that. It's frayed everywhere. It's got his name this big.
Pikes Peak tires that have rotted and cracked are in his Quonset.
They're not rotted yet. They're still pretty good. I designed them friggin' tires. I had to keep a few of them, you know? I mean, jeez.
All right, so you got the microphone. Tell everybody here, we'll tell the Delara guys, you might use the word WAP a couple times here. Tell the story about, within reason, keep it within like 6 minutes, you and the WAP running the Hoosier 100 and the Italian Grand Prix in the same weekend, flying back and forth. What happened when you got back to Italy? Take it from there.
Yeah. Good thing I didn't know you guys then, you know. They're really nice guys. At any rate, we decided to run. I always, since I was a little kid, wanted to run Formula One car. Not very much, but at least a little bit. And so Goodyear, who was my benefactor and where most of my little bit of money came from.
Oh, yeah, he bled Goodyear. Oh, my God.
And so they got me a Formula One ride with BRM, which was a terrible car that year. And Mario had Lotus, which was really fast, the best car, and he was winning races already. So we decided to go, and I thought, what the hell, the BRM, I can make up a little difference if it's not quite fast enough. So we go over there to Italy. We practiced and qualified. Then we wanted to run the Hoosier 100, so it's here in Indianapolis. So we fly all the way back. Now this is without going to any hotel, motels, no hooker joints, no nothing. I mean,
no hooker joints.
We totally, and you can't sleep on the airplane very good. So we came back here. I dropped out of the race. I don't know where the WAP finished, but he finished. I don't know if he finished, but at any rate, then we get right back on an airplane, go back to Italy. This gets to be the funny part. But we land in wherever the hell it was, and the racetrack is in Monza, Italy, and it's a long ways. It's about an hour drive, right? Yeah. And so he has me drive. Now, I don't read Italian. I don't read WAP. I don't read. I mean, I can read a stop sign, and that's it. So we're going to the racetrack, and all he does is he keeps saying, and he got me driving, and he keeps saying, go, 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 go. And I say, okay. The cop is in the corner or in the middle of the street on the little stands like this thing here. And we come there, and he says, just go around him, go, go, go. So I do that, and pretty soon, and we're only going to have, if we get to the racetrack, which is not very likely, I can tell that, but we're going to have 15 minutes. That's to change clothes, check with the mechanics, get in the cars, and get in the race. So and then he tell me, he says, you got to go faster. Go, 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 go. And so now I'm up on the sidewalks, honking the horn, and the people are jumping out of the way, going down the sidewalks when there's traffic. So we do that for a long time. Excuse me. So finally we get down to the racetrack. This is the best part. Now, the cops can't chase us because they don't have cars. So that was really a good deal. So we get down to the racetrack, and you'd think he'd go in a pit gate or something like we have at every racetrack. No. He takes me right to the front gate. Now, they got soldiers down there, and they got them goddamn little rat-tat-tats that they're carrying. So I pull up the gate, and I stop, and this soldier standing there with his gun, and the WAP is hollering at me, and he says, go, go, go. And I says, God damn it, this doesn't look right. So he just keeps hollering at me, so I step on the gas. And the goddamn soldier comes up over the hood, and he hits the windshield, and then he rolls off on the pavement, on my side of the car. Bad. So he comes up, and he's got that goddamn rat-tat-tat pointed in the side window. And I think he's going to shoot, So I tell the WAP, I says, Mario, God damn it, you got to talk to that guy. I think he's going to shoot me, And so Mario finally figure out he knows Italian. That's where he was. So he talks to the guy a little bit. Now the guy, it's okay. The guy likes us then. Boy, it got really close. To tell you what, you could tell that soldier wasn't too happy, And so then we go in and find out we haven't been in the race. The qualification, all those trips we did was for naught. And they're not going to let us start the race. So then we decided, we can't run the race, we'll have a vacation. So I got my mother down there at the time, and Mario's got his, I think he got his wife. Yeah, he was married then, yeah.
Deanne.
He's still married, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. To the first wife.
For the first wife.
Right. He's
Not
a,
number 6
he's
or
a wop.
7 or...
Yeah.
Hey, who were you married to then? Were you married to Norma?
I don't remember.
Norma.
It could have been.
Norma, his wife number 2, Norma, one of the prettiest women to ever grace this planet. So Shunk and I were talking one night, and I found a picture of Bobby and Norma in the back of the pace car after he wins the 68 race. I said, God, Unser, I said, she was just spectacular. And he said, meaner than a bag of snakes. I go, meaner than a bag of snakes. Gee, I wonder why. Because you were such a fucking great guy to be married to, I bet, huh? Yeah, that's it. That's why she was meaner than a bag of snakes.
So I got to tell you more about that. That was a...
No, you only get one story per half hour. That's you. No.
So at any rate, now we're on vacation now. No more racing, vacation. So Mario's going to take us around and show us what Italy looks like. So we're going down this freeway. Don't have any idea which one, but we're going like hell. We borrowed a couple of cars from Alfa Romeo, I think. And so we're running 80, 90 miles an hour down this freeway, and they got a construction zone. And the guy's standing out there with a great big stop sign, and it's English, says S-T-O-P. And so we get to that thing, and he just blows right through it like you can't believe it. And the guy doesn't do anything. And I get there, and the guy's really mad at me, and I could tell that, you know. So now we go to the next one. Somebody radioed ahead. So we get to the next one, the wop blows right through that thing just like he did the last one. No problem, I'm just going to follow him because I don't know where I'm going, you know. So I get to it, and there's a guy standing there with another goddamn gun. It's another soldier, you know. So they stop me, and this guy now takes my billfold. So he's got what little money he had, and he takes my driver's license, then he takes my passport, and tells me we're going to jail. And I ain't got time to go to jail, and besides that, I'm going to get lost. The wop's down the road a little way. So he finally starts backing up, which I really like that. So he gets back to us and got this soldier or cop, whatever the heck he was, standing there. And he's got all my stuff. He's getting ready to put me in his car. And I told the wop, I says, you gotta talk to this guy. I said, he wants to take me to jail. He says, well, he talks to the guy a little bit. He finally Italian, you know. He does a little bit, and then he looks at me and he says, why didn't you give him $5? I says, what do you mean $5? He says, he wants $5. Give him $5. And I says, you mean that's all he wants for all of this is $5? And so I gave the guy $5. He's tickled to death the way we went. And that's the way the whole trip went.
All right. Oh my God, that was a tough one. All right, Junior, you and
but
Johnny.
he didn't answer the question about the faucet. Yeah, I want to know about the faucet too.
The faucet.
That's what I want to hear.
Mario told me that you were in a hotel and you called him. You were you saw the restroom. There was a WC, shower, and something very low.
Else.
You didn't know what was.
Oh,
So you
geez.
called him. So what is this for? And he said, this is for drinking water, right? And you did. Right?
That might sound a little bit weird, but it's the truth, you know. You got these, why would they have two crappers in one bathroom? Makes no sense, you know. So I called the wop and asked him, what the hell is it for? He says, it's a drinking fountain.
Because the Italians are short, right?
That's it.
And that's an absolute fact. That's the way he treated me the whole trip, you know.
Well, you got even with him in
Yeah.
1981. It's okay. All right, Johnny. You and Junior got it. No, you boys have to carry us here for the next 10 minutes or so.
No, I'm glad you took it away.
Oh,
The
take that away.
microphone.
I got you.
Yeah.
Where's Gordon
Yeah.
Kirby? He's got an Uncle Bobby story. He did a book on this heathen. His family. Gordon's got a new book about Wally Dallenbeck, in case you guys want to buy it. World's greatest guy, and we invited him here, but he just flew in. Curbs, take over.
Well, where to begin? What can I say about this man? There were so many stories you can tell about this man. First of all, about the second or third year I was covering racing nationally, covering the Indy 500. I remember here at the Speedway, maybe this is 1975, 76, talking to Bobby about something, car setup, what's going on, and he's telling me some stuff, and I remember looking up at him and saying, Bobby, that's bullshit. Now, the only person who ever said that amongst the press to him was Robin. So I remember Bobby looking at me and raising his eyebrows up, and away he went. He gave me another little lecture, but it was great, actually, because it was the beginning of having a really straight as you can have relationship with Bobby, and I learned so much from this badass about racing. I mean, the guy is Mr. Hardcore, Mr. Automobile Racing. But what I want to do is tell a couple of stories about snowmobiling with these badasses up in Chama. Now, one time I went up there. First of all, Johnny had told his story about Bobby and the police and so forth. Well, one time I was up there at Chama. I was at Bobby's place, and he had one of the local policemen who actually worked on his ranch as well. So we're sitting there in his place having some glasses of whiskey, and along comes the local cop, and we start talking. We go out, we get into the police cop car, and he drives down the road, and Bobby and I are sitting in the back with a bottle of whiskey, drinking scotch. Now, it's the first and the last time in my entire life that's ever happened to me. I can't imagine it happening any other time with anybody else. He's the only man who could do that. Now, this is my little story about snowmobiling with these guys. One year I got out there, and some smugglers had flown a plane up from Mexico, apparently loaded with cocaine, and they had crashed in the mountains. So the state police are trying to get up into the hills, into the mountains to get to this plane and so forth. And they were having a tough time in their snowmobiles. So naturally, they asked the Unsers. So Bobby leads a team, of course, of everybody trying to do this. So they're going up there, breaking trail, trying to get up to this thing. It's way up at the top of the mountains. And this is taking days and days to do it. So anyway, I'm out there one day, and we're down at kind of the base station near Bobby's house. And I'm laying outside relaxing on the snowmobile with Bobby Jr. We got our suits on. We're kind of ready to go. And suddenly we see another plane comes flying up, and it's headed up towards the top of the mountain. Suddenly Bobby comes bursting out from the house. He's got a 6-gun in his hand, and he says, Curbs, follow Bobby Jr., take this gun, go get those goddamn guys. Well, I said to him, I used some bad words. I didn't take the gun. I wasn't going to go and do any shooting. Anyway, I followed Bobby Jr. up into the hills, and away we went. And finally, this plane actually turned around and came back. So anyway, it went on for a few days. But ultimately, Uncle Bobby here was the first guy. He made his way up there. He got to the plane. He found the contraband. And I've never seen anybody so motivated trying to do something like that. It was just like Bobby, the hard-ass race car driver. So I could go on, but that's my story of snowmobiling with the Unsers and learning a little bit about this badass. He is a hell of a guy. He actually drove me up Mike's Pikes Peak in his Audi in 1986 3 or 4 times. And unlike Parnelli, where he tried to scare the hell out of him, and of course Parnelli wasn't going to do that. He behaved himself. He never did anything bad, but after the first run up the hill, he said, Curbs, you want to run again? Now you're going to have to do some work for me. I need to know my boost pressure exactly at this point and at this point, and you better tell me right. And I did. So it was a pleasure. He's a hell of a guy.
All right, thanks, Curb.
All right, Kirby.
Hey, Al Jr., did you guys, do you think snowmobiling with this maniac helped racing? Helped your racing? Junior's laughing. No, I mean, helped aggression or hand-eye coordination or anything?
There's too many stories on the snowmobiles. That's kind of what I was sitting here thinking about, because each time I hear a story, it's true. It's true. And so, you know, can you blame me for the way I was messed up in my life because of this guy? I mean,
hey,
he set the standard, okay? I come home from school one day, okay? Come home from school one day, and Dad is livid. I mean, my dad is upset. He's pissed. And I just said, why? And he goes, I was over at your uncle's. And I go, okay, what? He goes, I've been waiting for 2 weeks for a set of Goodyear tires that I ordered for my truck. And I walked over there just for another reason, and there they are sitting in his garage because the UPS truck came and tried to drop them off at my dad's, but because Dad wasn't home, they just automatically go over to Uncle Bobby's and drop them off at Uncle Bobby's, and when they get dropped off at Uncle Bobby's, they stay at Uncle Bobby's. No matter what it is. And Dad, I mean, he goes, that's the last time. I mean, just on and on like that. And then we were just Jerry and I, his daughter, we were just out having a cigarette, okay? And we met Matt Hillman, who has sweet corn. Matt Hillman, right? Okay, so he's delivered sweet corn to Uncle Bobby, and Jerry was talking about how good it is. It's really good, and I believe it. It's really good. So she's trying to she's asking Matt, when is the next shipment of corn coming in? And he said in August. And so I say right away, I go, okay, well, Matt, make sure that you get it to Jerry first, or make sure you hand the corn, because Jerry obviously wants some of this corn. It's really good, because if you take it to Uncle Bobby's, he's going to keep it. He's not going to share it. And so right then, his daughter goes, no, bring the whole truck to me, not Uncle Bobby, okay? So you're passing it on. I love it. I love it.
Hey, do you think is there any wonder your father, think about your dad growing up in the family with all the Unser brothers and being 5 or 6 years younger and never getting to speak. Everybody says, Al Unser is so quiet. He never couldn't get a word in edgewise. He could never speak. He wasn't allowed. He was mentally abused his whole life. Is that true, Uncle Bobby?
Yes.
Yes, well, son, a good man, but...
You know how Uncle Bobby was always kind of on the cutting edge of technology. I mean,
self-taught engineer.
Always.
Self-taught engineer, the
Always.
flow bench in the shop, everything, and rightfully so. And always good at promoting things, you know, for the shop, for the snowmobile, for whatever. Paying for something wasn't the first choice. So
It was never the choice.
we're down in Mexico at his house in Puerto Penasco, visiting, and had a nice little vacation. It was Robbie and myself and my wife, and Uncle Bobby's got a boat down there. Now, Uncle Bobby was a great race driver, but not so much a sailor. So we go out in the ocean there, and we're floating around, and he got the latest GPS deal. And this is probably 25 years ago. And he's got the latest GPS on the boat, and it's time to go home, and he's plugging in all the coordinates like you would in the airplane, and it's taking us the wrong way, out to sea. And I turn around and I look and I go, the land is back that way, and we're going that way. And Uncle Bobby was so focused on the GPS and making it work that he was determined we weren't going to go where the GPS goes, because that was the right way, because the GPS said to go that way. But the land is back that way, in the unlimited oceans that way, and we're going the wrong way. And finally, I remember saying, Uncle Bobby, we're running out of gas. We got to get back to land here. And we could swim. I mean, it was a long ways, but we could get there. And finally, you had to give up and go, we're going to land.
So you talked some sense into him.
You give up, use our eyes.
Hey, Fino, are you still here? Did Tim Coffeen leave? Fino, let's talk about Jose Garza real quick. Oh, yeah, A.J. Foyt couldn't be here, so he sent a bottle of A.J. Foyt wine. He says he hopes you choke on it and use it for an enema. Fino.
I believe that too.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Son. So Timmy also worked at Machinists Union, so he worked with Jose Garza. And one year, Uncle Bobby was Jose Garza's driving coach. And that's why his career went to shit like overnight. And Fino got to spend some time with him.
Well, the first day I worked at Machinists was at the Speedway, and David Benner, who worked with Robin at the Indianapolis Star, he came in and they put card table chairs next to each other, and he interviewed him in the garage. And David Benner said, "What was it like having Bobby Unser for your team manager?" And he said, "He was like being the test pilot on a roller coaster with a crazy man at the controls, and you could not get off until the ride was over."
That Jose Lee. Okay, that reminds me of a story too, and it had to do with Bobby Jr. They're Bobby Jr.'s in a Formula Ford, and Uncle Bobby's trying to work with him on fastening the seat belts or holding the steering wheel or something like that, and I'm watching this, and Uncle Bobby goes, "Son, the best drivers in the world do it this way." What am I talking about? I am the best. I go, oh my God.
So we're at Manzanita one night, and Bobby Jr.'s making his first or second sprint car, and Manzanita was a fast joint. So Bobby Jr., I don't think he really wanted to drive. What do you think? Did Bobby Jr. ever really want to be a race driver? He wanted to be a drummer, right? Didn't he, Jr.? Oh, yeah.
He started as a drummer.
Right.
But he wanted to drive race cars.
Okay.
He did.
So.
Till he hung out with Uncle Bob.
Yeah. Till about 6 months of that mental. So he's getting ready. He's strapped in. He's getting ready to get in the car, and Uncle Bobby gives him a 10-minute lecture about don't run the bottom like a pussy. Get up and run the fence. You got to be a man here. Take this track by the goddamn throat and show us what you're made out of. This is a man sport. Then he kisses him on the lips and says, "Now be careful out there, honey."
It's true.
Be careful out there, honey. I'm going, oh my God. What is this guy thinking about on the pace lap? I don't know. He just kissed me on the lips, and I'm supposed to be a badass here. Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You gotta. Okay, Robbie's son number 2, coming up, and I'm right at the end of my go-kart thing, which is, I was 15 or 16 years old, and Robbie's now coming up, and Robbie's 7 or 8. I mean, 8 years old, and we're out. We're testing the go-karts. I'm with mine and Dad, and Uncle Bobby's out there, and Robbie's just learning how to drive, and he's just not going fast enough. Uncle Bobby gets a stick
Broom.
out.
Wasn't it a broom?
I don't know. It could have been a broom. And when he would drive by, he'd hit him in the back. Faster.
He got him going fast.
He did. He got him. He did. True, huh?
I mean.
You want to go to his, he'll give you his. You ain't getting mine.
Here, we want to hear this one.
I got to tell you this a little bit about my brother, but little Al is running the, he's not little Al, but he is to me. And little Al's running the go-karts up at the track. And I go up there and watch him because I hadn't seen a go-kart race, you know. And so I went up there watching, and they were beating him a little bit. And I asked my brother, I said, what's going on? I says, does he have a good engine? And Al says, yeah. I said, well, he's driving the crap out of it, but he ain't going nowhere. And so I told him, I says, I want to take it down to the shop. And it's only about 1.5 miles down to our shop from there. So I take it down there, and I got to drum a nitro down there. So I just mixed up a little nitro and put it in there and told Al, I said, all right, let's go see how it works now. Took it back up there, and he just beat the crap out of everybody. And I got mad at my brother. I said, you got to give the kid some power, you know. He can't do this without power, you know. And you won.
It's true.
That's right,
yeah.
and you won.
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
once Dad gave me all that power, okay, we were passing them down the straightaway. So I think with Uncle Bobby's help, they decide to slow me down on the straightaway, and then I became faster in the corners so that I would learn how to pass in the corners.
Your Uncle Bobby wasn't slowing you down. That nitro was making you go.
You changed the gear. I was fast in the corners, but slow down the straightaway.
That's a good excuse for flat-out cheating.
Hey, yes, he
The
taught
nitro
me.
was legal. They didn't even know what it was.
Oh,
They didn't
Foyt knew what it
They
was.
didn't have a rule.
Huh?
They didn't have a rule about it at that time, so it wasn't cheating.
No, it wasn't cheating.
It
That's
was
what I was
good.
telling them. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's legal.
yeah.
Uncle Bobby never cheats, you know.
No.
AJ
I know.
Foyt.
Roger knows that.
I
You
know.
just ask Mr. Penske. He knows. 'Cause,
Okay.
boy, he's
okay.
looking at it, you know,
Yeah.
all the time.
Mr. Penske, when I went and I signed my contract with Roger, and we're face to face, and I'm signing the contract, and he goes, "Okay, I want you to understand, there is no remarking the springs on my cars. I want you to understand that right now."
The boss might have thought that too, you
You
know.
were not gonna, and I go, "I don't know what you're talking about."
You should have
course
seen.
not.
You should have seen Lori and Clive the night that Roger discovered that we might have been marking the springs a little bit wrong.
Might have.
And the setups might have been a little bit different than what the setup sheet showed, but what the hell difference did it make? We were going fast, wasn't we, boss?
You were fired for like 10 hours, 12 hours, actually?
No, I didn't. He didn't fire me that long. It was a quickie, you know. No. Clive and Lori were a little bit happy that I settled things out, though. I mean, they were out of a job for a while. Lori kept telling me, he says, "God damn, I get fired a lot since you've been driving here, you know."
Lori called me and he said, "Is it true you're having a roast for Bobby Unser?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I got to be there." All right. So we ask all of Unser's sponsors to chip in and whatever, what he meant to their business or their company or whatever like that. So the only thing we could get, that's right, Jorgensen Steel, right?
Olsenite.
I know, I was just kidding. Olsenite, Ozzie Olsen, who Bobby fleeced for hundreds of millions of dollars before he passed away, gave you a golden toilet seat, Unser, and God knows what you think about when you're sitting on their throne, but I'm sure it's going to be in a book someday, and I hope I get to read it.
I have an idea
What's that?
what you're thinking on when you're sitting there. Inspiration.
Inspiration.
You
All right.
are-
I was inspired by Ozzie Olsen
you
because
go.
he owned the whole company, and I got nice toilet seats all over my house, you know. Every house I own's got Olsenite toilet seats in it. Everybody jokes about it and thinks, no, but they're free toilet seats. They're not too bad, you know.
Do you ever let Lisa use the hot water, Uncle Bobby? Does she get to use the hot water, or is it always cold? Because, you got to save money. You're only
that?
down to your last 300
Aunt
million.
Lisa. Aunt
Lisa. Does Lisa get to use hot water?
Lisa does whatever she wants. I keep my mouth shut there, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My God. All right. We're going to wrap this up.
Wait, I got one more.
Oh, no. You're going to.
Because you brought up Aunt Lisa
Yep.
and the hot water at his house. Jerry, Johnny's brother, comes from Australia. He lives in Australia. He came to Uncle Bobby's house a few years ago and stayed with you at your house. And he came over to my house one night and one day, and he goes, "I just can't believe you're your uncle." And I go, "Well, why?" And he goes, "He's making my daughters count the toilet paper sheets. They're only allowed to use 8 toilet paper sheets."
I was wondering what you're going to say on that one now. I was waiting for that like everybody else, right?
How do you even know? And he knew. How do you know?
Why do you want to know?
Because who does that?
I know,
Who
but
does that?
nobody. Son. All right. Before we wrap this up, does anybody have one really good question to ask Uncle Bobby before we pay a little tribute to him? Bill Marvel. Say that again, Bill.
I used to manage Pocono the first 3 years it was open. And one year he decided that the gate shouldn't be locked, so he just drove through it and over it. And you know, after that, 3 or 4 of the other drivers come over and said, Bill, can't you get him banned from this race?
Well,
Can't ban an Unser from a race?
no, well, I mean, I pulled up to the gate. I told the guy, or I asked the guy, if you open the gate, don't close it when I get there. And the guy was a young buck. He thought he was really tough. And I said, you open that friggin' gate or I'm going to drive through it. And I says, I'm going to count to 5. And if the gate ain't open, watch. So I counted to 5 and drove right through the friggin' gate. And then I backed to it again so he'd know I did it. And then I drove through it frontwards again. I ruined that gate on the ground. Then I went and saw Matty Ole and told him, I said, I'm sorry, but I just ruined your gate. I said, get that guy off the gate out there. Shouldn't be there.
That's why.
It's so true. I remember going into Phoenix one day, and I go in and I see Al, and he's running there, and I go, Uncle Bobby's in handcuffs at the gate up there. And similar situation, only this guard didn't put up with it. Remember, you were in handcuffs. Oh, I saw you. You had handcuffs on.
They were fake. They were fake. That's why when I showed up at Pocono the first year as a driver and went through, they stopped me and they go, okay, you can't do what your Uncle Bobby does here. Drive through the gate. There's none of that. I go, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's the last one I drove through, though. You know, it was okay after that.
It's the last one you remember. All right.
Hold on just a minute. I got to thank a couple of guys here at least. You know, Parnelli, I don't know where he is, but totally, that is the man that I think for whatever my career amounts to. Hopefully it'll go down in history is fairly good, but he's the reason for all of it. Without Parnelli, I wouldn't mind running Pikes Peak again if they take the pavement off.
All right, Unser, here's what we have to say. Tim Coffeen and Shunk and I talk about this all the time. We were growing up, you were one of our heroes. We ended up getting to know you. Then you weren't quite as big a hero after we really got to know you, but we learned a lot. I can say this, you were always worth the price of admission. You were a badass qualifier. You wanted to lead every race. You were probably one of the 10 greatest IndyCar drivers of all time. But unquestionably, there's never been a better interview in the history of auto racing because before PR people infiltrated IndyCar racing, this man he never has had a filter, but all you had to say was, Bobby, what about A.J. Foyt? He's just a bully. He's a mean bully, and he cheats. Good race driver, though. Gordon Johncock, dumber than a sack of shit, doesn't know anything about a race car, drives the right front off every time. If he knew how to set up a race car, he'd probably win 15 more races. Dumb. Your brother, very lucky, but smart, very smart. So you don't have that anymore. You're not allowed to because you have sponsors and things like that. But I can just tell you that Unser, to me, it's like when something happens, there's two people you always call up. You call Mario because he's kind of level-headed, and then you think, that was kind of boring. Let's call Unser. So then we call Bobby and say, Bobby, what about the qualifying rule, Indy? Dumb sons of bitches. I can't understand. There's a lane for fast cars, and everybody's fast. Why do they have two lanes? Who the fuck thought of these things, Robin? I don't know. I don't know the rules, and I read the rule book. But anyway, give a nice hand to one of the good sports in racing, Uncle Bobby Unser. Yeah.
Thanks to everybody. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. I know, it's crazy. We do, we like you.
No matter what, we love you very much.
Thanks to everybody. Good Lord, what a night, you know.
And he thought he was going to go have chicken and mashed potatoes at the Iron Skillet, and we tricked him.
Thanks to Lori and Clive for being there. That was my crew. Thanks to Roger Penske for being here. It's all I can do to keep a tear from coming out of my eye to see Roger here. I mean, it's so nice. Best fun, best team, best everything I ever had was Roger Penske. And I mean, and I don't care. I hope I live to be 200 years of age. I'll always keep saying the same thing. I had the best mechanics, the best team, the best lot of friends. I have so many people here that are good friends. Paige, God damn, he put up with me for so many years. At any rate, what a hell of a night. Man, I mean, I can't believe this.
Well, thanks Steve Shunk, because he put the whole thing together.
Thanks to Steve.
And Turner Woodard, who was nice enough to give us this beautiful setup. And the Char Blue people and all the girls and all the chefs and all the bartenders. You guys were great. This is so much classier than Unser deserves. You have no idea. I was for an outdoor picnic table with Pabst Blue Ribbon because he's got some in the Quonset hut.
It's a deal I never expected in my life. So I think all of you came here. I hope some of you like me after all of this, but it was the nicest evening I could ever remember. I mean, I really mean that. I'll think about this for a long time.
And he's sorry that he insulted the Italian Americans here. He didn't mean it. WAP is just rolls off his tongue. It's nothing personal. It's for Mario, who was supposed to be here.
They're all my friends. It's okay. They kind of, I think they expected a little
I
bit.
know, they expect it.
They don't think I'm going to go to church with them right away, you know? So.
No, probably not. All right, everybody be safe going home. Thanks for being here. We had a good time.